game with Tracy McGrady after in about 8 years in a row where he averaged 26, and then shoulder and knee and that kind of thing took its toll?
Okay. Why we gotta show Sean Bradley always getting dunked?
Because he's always getting dunked on.
It's like the one here.
It's like that easy button he was talking about before. Every time we know.
No, I drafted McGrady in Toronto. And the thing that I saw in him that I loved about him in high school was that he did everything so easily. And it gave the appearance that he was nonchalant, he didn't care. But when you really broke it down on film, he was fast, he was athletic, he was quick. So consequently, he would always be there waiting and look like he was just, you know. I mean, he was never out of position. Offensively, you know, his moves were quick, but they were slow because he was that fast. You know, so you had a chance to really see him in action. And I think from a shooting standpoint, from a passing standpoint, a ball handling standpoint, he was, you know, he was just about as good as we're going to see in this league. You know, maxed out in those offensive categories.
You know, when I look at McGrady, it reminds me of why Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, why Larry Bird was Larry Bird. It's not just talent. There's got to be a fire in the belly. There's got to be a competitive edge where you want to kill the guy across from you. And I've never played with Tracy. I've never had a conversation with him. But he's as talented as any player I've ever seen. But I don't think that fire ever manifested itself.
You know, I mean, it's interesting. In touching on what you said, Isaiah, the demeanor, the look, the appearance, that he's not trying hard. But I don't think you lead the league in scoring if you don't have a little bit of a fire.
Yes, he did twice.
Yeah. I think the problem was it just was. I mean, I was hurt. I think it would have helped as an older player to sort of help show him a little bit, you know, how to do things. He was 21 when he went to Orlando and just took off. So he was still young. And the team wasn't that great. And I think a lot of it was frustration. I think a lot of it was he just didn't know really what to do or how to conduct himself, maybe as a teammate, as a leader. But in terms of, like you said, in terms of talent and going out and scoring like he scored, like, you have to have a little bit of a fire.
Michael better than the McGradys, and even now Kobe and LeBron, is the fundamentals of the game he was still the best at. His correct hand was always in the passing lane. His footwork was impeccable. So it wasn't natural talent that got him over a lot of times. He, to me, was the most fundamentally gifted athlete ever. Fundamentals with athleticism. I had never seen, even Clyde Drexler, who was a great athlete, didn't have the fundamentals as Michael, but he had the athleticism and everything else. But those 3 years at North Carolina and those 2 or 3 years at Wilmington High School where he learned those fundamentals, I think those were the difference what made Michael.
And I would agree with you, not only in terms of the fundamentals, but also who he learned from. I mean, you played under Coach K. You played under Dean Smith. I played under Bobby Knight. Dean Smith teaching Michael Jordan. So that level of philosophy coming down and understanding how to play fundamentally sound
what it takes to win.
Yeah, I mean, and Bird had great coaching at Indiana State. I remember Carl Nicks, number 22, played at Indiana State with Larry Bird, and he was from Chicago, and Carl was always. So I remember him coming back for the summer. We're playing in the summer league. And I remember asking him, I say, is he really that good? He goes, he's that good, but his fundamentals are so flawless. Like, he never makes a mistake in terms of his setup for the shot. He never makes a mistake in terms of his left-hand layup or his right-hand layup. And his fundamental setup is so good, he always has time. So when Bird would catch the basketball, it would look like he would be able to catch it, spin it around, and
you know what?
Because their setup was so good, and there's the same with Jordan.
Right.
And I think we mistake that for fire in the belly. You know, we used to call that he has know-how. Like Bird, Jordan, them guys had fundamental know-how. McGrady, coming from high school, he didn't get the know-how. You know, so everything had to be, you know, tricky, whereas them guys, you know, even yourself playing under Lute Olson, right? if you don't play under Lute Olson, I don't know if you ever get into the NBA because the fundamental base that you had, that know-how that they gave you, it wasn't because you were a great ball handler, you were a great athlete, you could outrun everybody. You knew how to get open, and that came from great teaching and that those coaches.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally understand what you guys are saying, but my point is, I mean, I look at McGrady and I think, I mean, the guy was a brilliant jump shooter. I don't think his fundamentals were bad. They weren't what Bird's or Magic's were or Jordan's. But did he ever step on the floor and just intimidate people with his look? I mean, Larry Bird did that. You know, Michael Jordan did that. You felt their presence.
You know what happens,
I don't think Tracy's presence was ever really felt.
If you're winning, that look means something.
Means more.
When you're losing,
let me give you a better
like
example.
if you give me that look and I know it's behind you, that look don't mean that.
But let me give you a better.
You ain't got pit bulls back there.
No,
Those are little chihuahuas behind.